Okay, now it's time to start the hard work of putting together our final. I would actually argue that the most important part of putting together your final is not actually this phase. It's the phase where you go through and you select your artwork that you want to talk about and you want to describe and you want to show. All right? So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up our basic template gallery right now. All right, and of course I have to allow the pop-up to go. Yes. And you'll notice again that this works. You've already seen this work. It's this nice little gallery. Well, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go View, Source, and it's going to show me the HTML that goes behind this. All right. I'm going to zoom this out just a tiny bit. How interesting. It's a little bit on the large side. I guess actually it's probably best that it is on the large side so you guys can read it. But you want to notice it here. Now center means that that's the, you notice all this other stuff. It's an H2. You know what that means. It's a top heading. The body background color is here. If you want to change the color of the body background, you change it there. There's also some other jazz here that got thrown in. All right. This, for instance, this is a different color for the body. That was put in by the Lightbox JavaScript, but my body background color is overriding it. Same thing with the font. My title, you're going to change this to, Joe Schmo's really rockin' webpage, or whatever you want to call it. The part I want to show you is this part here. You see where it says href images? You know that that's putting an image in. And now this is the beauty of being lazy. I did not put in really cool long names. I put in the number 1 because I knew I would remember it. All right, and I'm going to scroll over. Okay, and I'm going to actually have to move the page over a little bit so you can see it. And that first line, it says go get this image, which is number 1. And for the thumbnail, you're going to go get this image. All right, so now I'm just going to go File, Save As. And because this is complicated, I'm going to give them a different number each time I do it. Gallery2.htm. And you remember you have to save it as all files, and I'm going to hit save. All right, so I'm going to bring up my portfolio, Gallery 2, open it up, and boom, you notice? Whoops, that did not work correctly. How interesting. Oh, I know why it didn't work. I had to allow the block content. Yes. So you go that, and it pops open, and it opens up the new image. Now, one of the things is we're going to be we have to give a little bit of information because that's part of the final. So I want to go back here, and it says put your text here for this image. So I'm going to put in the text. I'm going to say this is the vector graphics assignment that combines Photoshop, image layering with Illustrator vectors. I will be giving you going to give you very specific instructions on what I want you to write. But I'm just going to File, Save, and I hit refresh, and when I click on it, all that text is going to pop up. And I would hope that you would use proper English grammar as opposed to what I've done. All right, so that's all you have to do. Everywhere along the line, you just show your image, okay? And what I'm going to do in this case is, there we go, drag over, and you're just going to keep on renumbering and relettering things, all right? So I'm going to replace all of these with the numbers, okay? Again, if you wanted to do A, B, C, you could. If you want to use long names, suppose you want to say, this is my vector baby as your name, you're more than welcome to do that. I'm not going to tell you you can't do things the hard way. And I understand why you may want to do it a little bit more. You may want to put those names in, but you can always put the names in the text. You don't have to actually have the picture named with a long name. Okay, I believe if I hit refresh, we'll get the little guy here. All right, now the $50,000 question. This was an animated GIF. I'm like, oh, for crying out loud, can I get my GIF to animate? Well, I'm going to show you how to do that. And what that involves is I'm going to go back into, I'm going to pull these guys down. it converted everything to JPEGs, and I wanted that as an animated GIF. So I'm going to click on this, and I believe this was an animated GIF. Yeah, if you were to look, you'll notice it's an animated GIF. I'm just going to take this guy, and I'm going to go, whoops, I'm going to right-click, I'm going to copy the GIF, copy. Copy, there we go. I'm going to go into my portfolio folder, and that's going to require a little bit of messing around to get it. Portfolio, and I'm going to go into the images folder, because this is the big image, and I'm going to go paste. And I'm going to call that's image 2, and I'm going to delete the JPEG. Yes. So that's great. That's deleted, but what should happen? Now, if you think about it for a minute, you should be able to guess what's going to happen. You probably can guess what's going to happen. I'm going to close this. I click on this guy, and that brings up the little kid, and when I go forward, it's not going to be able to find it. And the reason it's not going to be able to find it is fairly simple. I replaced a JPEG with a GIF. If I go to this gallery and I look, the instructions say image 2 is a JPEG. So I have to go over here, and it takes a little bit. It's on that second line. I'm going to scroll over, image 2, and I have to turn the JPEG into a GIF. I'm going to go File, Save. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to hit refresh. I'm going to click on that guy, and hopefully the animated GIF, which is extraordinarily large, will open up. All right. And the animated GIF is really kind of, it seems to be playing all right, but the animated GIF does seem to be freaking out a little bit. My guess is because it's very, very, very large. So you may want to downsize it before you put it over here. Okay, yeah, it's playing now. All right, so there you go. That's how you can get your animated GIFs to work. All right. So that being said, all you have to do is you're going to edit things. I want you to play with colors. I want you to play with like some of the stuff you download from Dynamic Drive. And I really want you to impress me with what you've done with this. I do have to say I am going to be grading you on what you put down as text. So you may want to mess around, see if you can find that. Actually, this is quite disturbing, isn't it? Okay, so we're going to move on to the next one. All right, so there you go. That is it, basically. And that's basically what we're doing for your final. All right, you can do a lot of this work at home. I encourage you to do so. Remember, you do need to submit the entire thing as a zip file.